Kaleidoscope right here on myKEEtv.c, your Caribbean talent network. We're here on set with Master Flash right next to me on my left. Welcome back, Flash.
Welcome.
But we have another special guest for you. Very, very special. Her name is Miss Rose Banner. Miss Rose Banner is a powerful survivor of domestic violence, and she is here to share her story with us. Hi, Rose, darling. How are you? I love your green. You look fabulous.
Thank you.
So, Rose, honey, let's dive straight into this topic of domestic violence.
I call myself a survivor because I'm not a victim no more. I refuse to be a victim because when you're a victim, you're still in, under control of that person, and I refuse to be controlled by anyone. So domestic violence for me started, I would say, when I started having relationships. You know, because I'm a survivor of childhood abuse also.
Yes.
So when you're in abuse, you think it's okay.
Okay.
Back then, you don't get help. We don't know about getting help.
Right.
We don't even know about having somebody listen to us when you're a child. You know, so you grow up and it's okay.
It's okay. And can I just add right here, Rose is also an advocate, a very, very strong advocate for the code. Rose, you're a survivor of that. You want to talk to us about where did this all begin, where did this start, so we can all get an idea of who Rose is, where did she come from, the story?
Okay, I'm a mother.
Okay.
I'm a mother of 3 grown kids, 5 grandkids, and the domestic violence starts way back in Belize with my kid's father, and then coming to the state, it started with my now husband. Coming here, you know, coming here in America is like a different world because then the culture shock is so bad. When I got here and I was going through the abuse, it was my ex abusing me, his certain part of his family was verbally and emotionally abusing me, which we have to remember that abuse is not only physical. People keep focused on just the physical part, but the worst part of abuse is the emotional and verbal part, because when you get hit, you're going to forget that. But when that emotional abuse hit you, you could never forget that. You could either live by it, which is you're going to be under their control, or you can survive it and get to the point where you can talk about it and laugh about it. And that's where I'm at right now.
Share with us when this abuse kind of started happening. Yes, we know some of the obvious signs.
I think the worst abuse that I've been through is when I'm married. Cheating is the worst abuse a woman could ever go through. First thing, you're emotionally abused, you're verbally abused, and sometimes you're physically and sexually abused. Yes, it is.
Of course,
yes,
cheating is domestic violence.
They're killing you. They're killing you emotionally.
No, I'm not. I'm just being a little facetious, but I'm really asking that. That's something that should be shed, that because people think like domestic violence is emotional
and physical. You're right.
But people cannot look at, you know what, if you're cheating on your mate, that is a form of domestic abuse.
Yeah, because you're affected psychologically.
I'm being a little bit ignorant right now. I've never heard it like that. No,
you're right, and I think it was very
is
intriguing.
A form of domestic violence.
It is a form of domestic violence. And she was also sharing with us earlier that is the time where you, the abused, would experience a lot of abuse, because that is what they kind of use as I don't know, their scapegoat, their excuse. They abuse the person so that that's just their scapegoat.
That's a form of holding you down.
Okay.
They take you layer by layer of your self-worth, your identity, and everything that goes along with it. So I look at cheating as the worst abuse you could ever go through, because to me, when a person cheats, man or woman, I think that a man is more powerful than a woman in that form. I think a man should be a man. You don't want that person, just walk away.
Okay.
Because we women are very weak. You know, we are weak people.
Yes, we are the weaker.
We
vessel
are the
of
weaker.
boat.
Yes. So I think that when cheating starts, a lot of people fight. That's domestic violence.
Right.
If somebody wants to go out and then the other person is trying to have that person, why don't you stay? That's the cussing start.
Okay.
The pushing, the shoving start.
So emotional, psychological,
Physical.
and even,
And sometimes sexual.
yes. If it is you are suffering some form of domestic abuse, it could also be a sign, you know, of something else. Of course, we know it is, but it could be that he's cheating too and kind of using that as
As an
scapegoat.
excuse, yes.
Yeah, wow. So, Rose, at what age did this abuse start?
Way back. 8-year-old, 9-year-old.
So, you're talking about probably touching on a topic that we discussed earlier, child, whether it was sexual abuse or whatever, but child abuse from the age of 8 coming now
All
into
the way up.
domestic
Yes,
violence.
yes.
So you're saying that probably, not probably, but suffering this child abuse led to you dating, am I correct?
Yes.
Would you say that?
Yes.
You dating men that abuse? You want
Yes.
to talk about that?
Yes, because when you're a child and you're being abused, emotional, verbal, wherever it is, you do not get the help that you need. You know, if you do not get the help that you need, then you grow up thinking, oh, it's okay. Especially when you're a child and you're going through certain abuse in your life and you try to bring it to somebody that are grown, they look at you and they say, oh, she's lying. Okay, so you grow up feeling like everything you're going to say from that point on is going to be lies. That's the only thing people are going to see from you. Even in my adult life, people would say, when my ex would say, oh, you're lying, you're just trying to get attention. Well, you know what? If I could get attention for the cause that I'm so passionate about, fine. You know, that's fine, because I'm not going to be that little child no more. I'm way above that. What we have to realize is that when you go through abuse and people who abuse you, they want to make you look like the one that are the bad one.
Right.
You know, people tend to feel like, oh, if I try to bring her down, because abuse is about control.
Okay.
If
yes.
people cannot control you, they cannot abuse you.
So, Rose, what are some of the early warning signs of domestic violence?
Oh, they have all kinds of signs. But you have the kind, like with my situation, the kind was, he was working and I was not working, so he was a provider. So I have to wait until he helps me out, mainly financially, you know, in order for me to have. So if he is not going to give me that part in my life, then I have to be beneath him.
Control again.
Yeah, it's control.
Wow.
You have emotional control, you have verbal control, you have physical control, and economic control.
Wow.
Those are the main
Wow.
factor in domestic violence.
Wow.
But then put all of them together, it's control.
Control.
No matter how you take it, it's a form of control.
You're right. A lot of times we make excuses. We say, "Oh my gosh, it's not really abuse. What are you talking about?" First of all, it's a cultural thing. You know, again, going back to what we talked about, it's a cultural thing. You only shove me, you only push me, or you get on. So what happened? That's how we Caribbean people is. You know, we hear men talk about being abused. Is that true? How do you feel about that?
I guess you do have some men that are, I say, not as aggressive as stereotypically most men. The machismo and the ego is not going to allow you to call the police. Hey, you know what? You know, Rose is my wife.
That's
Rose
right.
abused
She
me.
just hit
She
me.
hit me. You know, and the cops gonna like, really? She really did hit you? That's what you're calling me for? So it's not really taken as serious. Do you think that with the abusee, do you think they have some kind of accountability or responsibility in how they choose their mate? Because like you said, well, you know what? In Belize, I was married to this man. Here in the United States, I was married to the man. So it's like you're choosing, quote unquote, choosing the same partners. Do you think that the abusee has some kind of accountability for that?
Yes.
That they're the ones selecting those kind of men to abuse them, to control them.
When you're abused, you don't have no self-love.
Okay.
No, your moral is gone.
Okay.
Your self-love, you don't have that.
Okay.
And giving out, you don't have no self-esteem, so you're going to get what you put out there.
Because I was just about to say, people looking on would ignorantly say, because you can think that that's what she's choosing.
Yes.
That's what he's
That's
choosing.
yes,
That's
that's
their
why I asked
that
choice.
question.
You know, so it's interesting that she just corrected us by saying, and if you're listening out there in myKEEtv land, she's saying to us, Rose is saying to us that they subconsciously, I mean, they're consciously choosing it, but subconsciously because they have no love for self.
Yes.
They have been abused and put down for so
Yes.
long that they make these choices subconsciously. So the next time you see or hear about someone, don't just think
Exactly.
that's what they're choosing.
When I was in the abusive situation, the hardest thing for me to do is find someone who gonna listen. You know, because you have family member, you have in-laws that look at you like you're nothing, because then you putting up with it. Well, it's not a matter of you putting up with it. Like I said, you don't have no self-love. It took me a long time to finally get to this point where I'm at right now, where I love me. I'm so in love with me.
Can you expound on that? Because I think you're touching something that's very important, where you're saying that, you know what, where you're putting up with it, why should we help you? You're the one staying with this man.
Yeah.
So how can let's say people on the outside looking into that situation, it's like, hey, you want to talk to me, you want some help. And I'm like, look, bro, you putting up, you the one chose him. Why you staying there? What can people on the outside do if on the outside we're looking and say, you're the one putting up, but you're staying there? So what can we do?
Well, first thing I would say, if you have somebody in domestic violence and you call that person friend, never put that person down. When you're putting a person down in domestic violence, you're doing just the same thing that person is going through in her home. Okay? So most of the time when people put other people down, they are going through the same thing. They are in abuse, but refuse to acknowledge it and refuse to really say, well, this is what I'm going through. But they look at you when you start talking about it, because they would love to talk about it. But just to shame, think about what others think about them. I don't care who think about me. I know who I am. And I refuse to make anybody put a label on me. You know, when I was going through it, oh yeah, people put me down. I go home and I cry. But now when I talk about it and anybody want to, you know, talk to me about, I'm going to talk to them about it, because this is mine. I have owned that.
Right.
I went through 5 years of therapy. 5 years of therapy in order to get where I'm at in my life.
Right.
And I refuse at this point in my life to allow anybody to come into my life now and try to bring me down. Oh no, that's not gonna happen.
Wow.
I would sit and talk with women, educated women, because we all have one thing in common. You could be the biggest person on this earth, and we all have that one thing in common, and we're dumb in love. We're all, I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the United States. We're all dumb in love. You know why? Because when you love hard. When you fall, you fall hard.
Emotion.
Exactly.
It takes over everything.
So people with education don't have to look down on somebody who don't have education, because believe me, we're one at the end of the day.
Yes, when it comes to that emotion.
That's why I was just talking to the men out there that's watching that. You know, love is not equate to abuse.
Nope.
You know, love is not control. You know, love is not taking advantage of somebody that's less than. So men out there, hope you're taking this to heart. Like I said, forget the whole machismo thing. You know, forget what you've been trained, what you've been learned, because obviously we're seeing right here, it's not an American thing, a United States thing. It's affecting our own Caribbean and all the different countries. So we have to, you be the advocate for change. You be the first one to break that cycle.
Yes.
Oh, if you don't hit them, they don't think you love them. Turn you over to immigration. I call it, say, Mom, what I was going through. You know, don't give up on him. That's your husband.
They are unable to get a green card. There's a lot of misperception out there.